Hey y'all. Okay, wait, let me get to the right thing so I can see the chat. Okay, I see Delvine and Kathy Bradley and Irene and Michelle and Amy. So I'm so happy to see all you guys. Um, we're making this guy today. We're making the little Shamrock gift box. And this was my original version. And it didn't fit real well because in order for the top to fit, I had to make the bottom really small so that it would fit inside easily. And what I found was that if I used a template to hot glue the sides on, if I used a template and glued it in the right place, I could put the sides in place much better. Oh, hey, Joanne. Joanne's my little sister. Kay, Carolyn, Tricia. So happy to see you guys. So I was just saying we're making the Shamrock Candy Box, and I modified the pattern so you can have a much easier time, and I'll show you how to do that. Now, I have already made a mess because I was trying to glue while I was getting ready. And I see Miss Bobby from California. Oh, I just hear my trusty assistant. He has arrived. Let me know if you have any trouble hearing me. Okay, so I had a few things I wanted to show you too. I like candy boxes. I just think if you put a little gift in something special that you've made, it just elevates the gift. Or, for example, for a candy box, candy's not really that big a deal. But if you put it in a really cute box, then it makes it something special. Also, let me show you the inside of the candy box. This one I've painted. Um, you can't put much candy in there. Nobody really needs to eat candy. So if you just put a few pieces in, you've got this really cool little gift that's just fun. So I'm going to send it to my sisters. Like I said, my sister's here. Her mother-in-law is diabetic. She's not supposed to eat candy, but she loves candy. But okay, so I'm going to put these little like nut cups or little candy, like miniature cupcake holders inside and just put three pieces of candy in it, and it'll seem really special to her. But, it's only three pieces of candy, not like a whole bag of candy. So that's kind of my perspective on making these candy boxes. And the other thing I wanted to show you were, Cricket Craft Fest is this week. The donkey will be on Thursday. The donkey will be free on Thursday. So, but I've had other candy boxes. We did the llama. I showed you the llama. This is called Mini Llama Pinata. And what I did unique about it is it opens up. So you don't have to tear it up to get whatever's inside. Let me put these away so I don't keep knocking them over. And then this is the Scotty Dog box. Oh, I see Sandra and Irene and Marty. So here is the Scotty Dog box. I think he's really fun. He's kind of a nice shape, and I made him wider so he can actually hold more candy if you want to do that. Let me kind of shine the light so you can see. And then this is actually the easiest candy box I make, and it is an egg-shaped one. This one's decorated like a piñata, and this was my original design, and it actually didn't fit quite as well, sort of like my original shamrock, but I modified it. And this is the second one. So this is a layered design for the Easter egg candy box. And this one is really easy to make. And this one works well with cardstock. I prefer the boxes to be made out of cardboard, but you can make them out of the egg in particular, because it's such a great shape, out of cardstock. Let's see. Hey, Luca. I just scared Luca off, and I made a little heart one, so. And the other thing I wanted to show you is somebody asked me about, this is my canal house, and I wanted to look like those little glass houses you get. The Dutch Airlines gives them out to business travelers, KLM, and I covered it with a glossy accents to make it look like glass. And in the pattern, somebody just asked me about it. The roof wasn't the right size, so I'm going to fix that. But I think it's called the Delft Canal Paper House, something like that. But anyway, I will be fixing that. And we'll be making some stuff like this in April, sort of springy type things, like the windmill. Okay, so I think that's everything. Let me move my candy out of the way. And that candy is, I made the first Shamrock Candy Box in 2019. So that candy's like 6 years old. In other words, I won't eat it. It's not tempting. Okay. Oh, Kathy asked, how did I make it glossy? I used Glossy Accents. It's a Tim Holtz product. And but I'm sure you could use like the shiny Mod Podge. And there are probably some other products that are real thick, but Glossy Accents is very thick. I can actually get my trusty assistant to show you. Okay, Ben, can you get me, it's a bottle right over there on the top. There's a little set of shelves on the other side of the fireplace. And there's a bottle with a black, actually there are two bottles, with one has a black cap and one has a clear cap right there on the top. Can you bring both of those to me? I think one of them is correct. I don't know which one till I see it. Thank you. It's so nice to have a trusty assistant. Okay, this is Glossy Accents. This is Glossy Accents, and that's what I use to cover the house.
What's that house called?
Delft Canal Paper House. It's kind of, you have to name things so that Google will recognize them. So that's why sometimes the names are, I always include paper house or something so that Google will recognize it and maybe show it to people. Alrighty, now let's get, oh shoot, I forgot to plug in my hot glue. I meant to do that so it'd be good and warm. There, now the hot glue is plugged in. So I'm going to switch cameras and I'll show you my supplies. So let me get to the correct place. Switching cameras. Rotating camera. This is my worksheet. I'm using a piece of parchment paper so that I don't get hot glue on my mat. So I'm using cardboard, and this is actually very thin cardboard. Yes, Michelle asked about Glossy Accents. Yes, that's what I use to make my windows look like wavy glass. I like them to look old. Yes, that is correct. So this is the cardboard and the templates. And I've got side pieces as well. Side pieces as well. I'm going to use this beautiful, I love this crepe paper. I think this is like Italian crepe paper. So let me just show you real quick. I know I have a pair of scissors. Here we go. I tried to have everything. I try not to bother my trusty assistant so he can, talk to y'all. Do his important job communicating. I'm not cutting straight, but anyway. So this is what I do. I cut a piece, and I don't cut it very wide. And then I'll cut, usually I cut a couple of strips like this. I'll fold it. And then cut 3. Layer them. No, Glossy Accents does not stay sticky. And I don't know how many years ago I made this, but it's not sticky at all. Yeah, it seems like some things never dry, doesn't it? Okay, so I'll just fold some strips and then I'll cut them. Now they have um, scissors that cut, multiple strips at a time. But I always thought they were kind of weird because the cutting edge is not where you expect it. It's in the middle of the blade, and I just I just don't use them. So I just cut like that, and I've got 3 strips, and it really doesn't take that many to cover the to cover your shamrock. But so that's this beautiful crepe paper, and you don't have to. You could actually just cover it with a sheet of crepe paper, just plain. You could just cut it out and fold it around it. You could paint it, or if you have, and I'm going to do this eventually, have like a layered design, like I did for the egg. If you had a layered design like this, so I'm going to try to get a shamrock layered design that will fit on top, so you kind of don't have to go through all the crepe paper trouble. Okay, so I've talked about crepe paper, cardboard, glue. I think, I don't use much hot glue, but I really like hot glue for this particular design, because you've got to get the cardboard to curve around these edges, and it's much simpler. When we made this type piñata, you're taping it in place. Hot glue would actually be probably much harder. The egg, let me get the egg shape. The egg shape, I found you can glue it to the template and just kind of slide it underneath. And I think, again, that's easier than using hot glue. But for this complicated shape, I really think hot glue works the best. I see Deborah Bell. Hello, Deborah Bell. Okay, let's see. So I told you that. I am going to use my regular glue. And I'm using regular glue here because hot glue is thick. And I want my template to kind of lay down flat. And this is not symmetrical. I kind of like it that it's a little, that the shape is a little asymmetrical. So you have to be sure you keep your template in the orientation, in the proper orientation, so you can line it up. Because if you get it twisted, you're like, ah. So try to keep it like that when you cut it out. And let's glue a top on. Shoot, I can't find it. Maybe I used them all up. Nope. Here we go. Here we go. This is the top. So let's glue it down. And there's Tracy. Hello, Tracy. We're making our little shamrock. I'm trying to make the point that it's something easy that you could make in multiples for St. Patrick's Day. Oops, see, I messed up. I turned it, and now I have to match up my edges. And these are designed, this is the top. The top is bigger. In other words, the edge, the sides are further out, so it'll fit over the bottom piece. But these are just like your hands. They're mirror images, so when they'll go together correctly. So you have to pay attention to that. And if you want to test it, line them up, and they should line up. So they should be mirror images. Okay. Let me just go ahead and show you. This is my cardstock version. And it worked. I was pretty surprised how well it worked. But you got all that ugly hot glue inside on the bottom. So I was thinking those little nut cups, those little cupcake-like things. Let me see, what did I do with them? I'll put them in here. You could just put them inside. So if you want to do cardstock, I was really happy that it actually worked. And to put the top on, you match up the bottom and then kind of lean it forward. Lean it forward. All right, let's see. Now for the important part. Where is it? What did I have? Yeah. Okay, I'll move this up a little bit. Move this over. And sometimes when my stuff doesn't stick down exactly right, I just put it under my mat. So I can make it be flat. All right, there we go. Now, these are the side strips. You need 3 per side, 3 per side and a little bit for the stem. So, and each side is different. They're not the same length. So what I do first is I curl them. I can't believe Ben said, if you want to be sure to lose something, put it under the mat. That is so true. He knows I lose like everything. I don't lose it permanently. I just lose it like when I'm looking for it, temporarily. Then I'm like, oh, that's where that is. Okay. And this was actually a thinner cardboard that bends easy. This is a thicker piece, and it'll still bend, but not quite as easily. This is all my recycled, I'm using my recycled cardboard from the emergency room when I worked there. Okay, Kathy asked if I could do tabs. This is the tab version. I think it'd be hard. I think it'd be actually harder. So I just kind of temporarily did it. I'm like, I think this is challenging, but I'll experiment more with it. Well, the bottom piece, the template hides the tabs, and then you glue it to the piece behind it. So the tabs wouldn't show. But I think it's hard for this design, I think it's hard to use tabs. But I did kind of experiment with it. Okay, we need 3 of them. Now this is the thin cardboard. Could you see it just already curved so much nicer? This is more like cereal box cardboard. See, look at the difference. Can you see the difference in thickness? And curves much easier. Okay, so I'm tucking it in to measure, and then I'm going around the edges. And I just kind of roughly put my thumbnail there, and I'm going to cut it. And that's the top one. Okay, let's do this side. Fold it around the edges. Cut it. We could do more trimming later if it's not exact. And one more. The third leaflet. Yeah, I'll play around with the tab version. For one thing, like I said, I want to make a kind of a layered design for the shamrock. Okay, so we got our 3. Get my stuff out of the way. And we may need to trim again. So keep the little scissors around. Let's hope the glue is warm. Yep. My little hot glue gun is warm. Okay. So I start at one edge. And you know, hot glue is not my favorite material, not my favorite form of gluing things. So I'm not the best person to lay down a bead of glue, although this is working very well. I don't know why. Okay. And I kind of slide it into that corner and then around the edge. And there's a little indentation here, so I kind of hold it with my thumb and then keep going around. There. See, I think it's probably easier than tabs. And I can see now that it's a little too long, so I just snip off some. There we go. So we got one side of the box and it looks good. Okay, let's do this top one. Same design. You know, I'm left-handed, so you know, you may glue in a different direction. There, I was much blobbier on that one. Okay, slide it into this kind of intersection of the leaflets. Curve it around, do the indentation, slide it around, and then again slide it at the intersection of the two. Well, Tracy said I was making it look easy. I made 3 for this experiment, so that means I've done 6 of these. Actually, I did one I threw away because it didn't match. I did 2 of the wrong side. They wouldn't connect, so I had to redo one. So I did a total of 7 shapes. Okay, and this is, I don't know if this is like cold hot glue or whatever, low temp, but it dries really fast, which helps in terms of, you know, it adheres around the curves really quickly, but sometimes if you're a little slow, it gets, it hardens, you know. Okay, so that's one side. That's the top. And then, do you want me to make another one? Would it help you to see me do it again? The inner one is smaller. Oh, remember I hid it for myself. Here we go. Do you want me to do this inner one? So the corners are a little steeper. Let's do it. Let's see. Yeah, these are all thin. I like these thin ones. Okay, curve, curve. I curve it both ways. Since this cardboard has a white side, I'm leaving it on the outside. I think that looks better. Okay, I'm going to do this one real quick. It's, you know, you can see it doesn't really take that long. Whereas I think tabs would take longer. So I'm curving it both ways. Okay, measure. We're measuring. We're kind of estimating. And if the sides don't exactly match up, you can either add a little extra piece in there, and then once I test it with the bottom piece, I'll kind of glue these together. But sometimes you have to trim them a little bit to make the bottom fit. Okay, so right now we're just estimating the size, the length rather, of the side strip. And trimming it. That one. Estimate this one. Again. Yeah, maybe if I do it the second time, I'll goof up and then we'll learn something. Because that's how I do all this stuff, you know. I mean, you know how it is. Every time you do it, you learn better. I actually saved these and I'll show you what I use them for in a minute. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Hot glue. Booch it in the corner. Around the edge. In trouble. Yeah, see, I'm being messy this time. Okay, there we go. All right, let's do this one. Actually, I'm going to do that. Make sure it stays down. I squished it down. Edge it around the corner of the leaflets. Hey, LaDonna. Happy to see you here. I am glad you made it for the live. Okay, one more around the edge. Okay, here we go. At the far corner where I started, because that glue is already drying. Kind of holding it down with the other, I have a guiding hand and a holding hand. There we go. Okay, so we got the top and the bottom. Next challenge, make sure that they line up. And see, it went on really easily. Wow. And the other thing is it's a little bit loose, but it's not too much. It's not like it just, totally falls apart. Okay, the other thing is for this design, I really like the stem, but it's thin cardboard. There are a couple things you could do. I like extra layers, so actually, let me see if I have one cut different. So you can glue an extra layer on. This was a defect. My blade caught, but you can glue an extra layer on and that makes it thicker. But I think it needs support, and that's why we saved these pieces. And so I glue them together and then glue them underneath the stem. So just a little blob of hot glue here. And a line of glue here. Oops. Oh dear. Just kind of tuck it in. And it needs to be on the top piece because the top piece, this bigger one, needs to go around the smaller piece, you know, the inner body. So there we go. Now I just noticed that this separates a little bit. So I'm going to add a little hot glue to get these two together. Try not to burn myself. And it makes it a better, you know, base. So that's the structure. So the next thing I do is I paint it because I didn't want, you know, white or whatever the color of the cardboard is to show underneath. So I painted mine. I don't think you have to do that because you really layer, if you're going to use the crepe paper, you layer the crepe paper on pretty well. So, I mean, you know, so that it really covers well. And to apply the crepe paper, it's just like we do roofs. Let me get a bunch of this. Bunch of my cut up crepe paper. Some smaller pieces. So you start at the bottom and then you overlayer. And at first I thought it would work well with my Barely Art glue, but then I realized it's lightweight, but it's also crinkly, so it's harder for the glue to adhere. So I started using my thicker glue, my tacky glue, quick dry, and that worked much better. So I'm just going to cut some little pieces to do the stem. And then put a blob there. Layer, maybe 4 layers. And I know many of you use a Cricut. I actually did use a Cricut to cut crepe paper. I think this is the one on the little Scotty dog, and see how even it is. But I mean, it took like 15 minutes to cut it all out, or 20 minutes, but it also took about 10-15 minutes to brayer and get this to adhere to a very sticky mat. So I think cutting these strips by hand is, you know, takes less time and less stress. That's just my opinion. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just kind of showing you how we layer it. And let's cover up the thing, the edges. Do a bigger one. Actually, that one goes all the way across. At the bottom, I usually use smaller ones and then kind of work my way up. Excuse me, I have to cough. There we go. And just put a little bit here. Anyway, you can see, you got the idea. You know how we do shingles on our houses. It's exactly the same process, except, we want our shingles to be lined up perfectly, but that doesn't matter for this. I mean, it's a piñata type thing. Hey, Sonia. I wondered where Sonia was. I'm so happy to see you here. I figured she was it's the first day of Cricket Craft Fest. So there are lots of cool projects today. Abby Kirsten is the person who runs Cricket Craft Fest. And her specialty, even though she does a lot of stuff, her specialty is flowers. Her flowers are phenomenal. So if you want to learn to make paper flowers, and she uses a lot of crepe paper like this too because it gives such beautiful texture. And the real advantage for crepe paper, I'll show you with some of my scraps, is you can stretch it out and it kind of curves. So anyway, Craft Fest today. You can get the free ticket. I sent out an email yesterday with a link for my affiliate link. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. And then the next thing, and don't worry about the edges because I've got this one dry. Oh, chocolate chip banana bread. That sounds like a dream. Okay, so I don't want to have to worry about being precise. So I just trim it after it's dry. Just kind of trim around the edges. Let me see. Trim a little from this side. It's just much simpler than being fussy when you're applying your crepe paper. Anytime you're doing a piñata type shape, I think this is the way to go. And all of mine are little. I haven't ever really done a big piñata. Maybe I should do that. Oh, I just got an idea. It just jumped on me. All year long, I really plan for my Halloween event. That's kind of the most fun for me. It just allows me to be creative. The donkey card is Thursday. So be sure to get it. Get your free ticket and show up on Thursday. And then you can clean it up a little bit from the top side. But see what a nice shape that is? And I love the texture of the crepe paper. All right, so let me see what else. The only other thing I wanted to tell you about was what I decorated it. I love Tim Holtz. So all I did was I used a tiny hole punch and to attach a tag, and I used his March stamp. He has it's kind of interesting. All of his stamps are with Stampers Anonymous, and the thing about it is they haven't retired any of his stamps ever. So every stamp Tim Holtz has designed is still available. So this one is one that it's a calendar one, and so this has got March on it. And then I added one of those little, I don't know what you call it, little bubble things. And this is one called, I think it's dogs, the dog one. So I just thought the dog looked lucky. That's why I added him. Okay, so I told you I just got an idea. Yeah, y'all help me so much. You don't even know it. You know, last year I did some ravens for my as birds on the Halloween thing. I'm gonna switch, and if I think of something else, I'm switching, moving my light out of the way. One of these days, maybe I'll have a studio, a real video studio. But I had ravens last year, Well, this year my bird's going to be a vulture. And I'm like, how fun would it be to make a vulture piñata? Like a real piñata. It's like a vulture piñata. That would be, anyway. So that's what I'm thinking. Okay, is there anything else I was going to show you? I believe that's it. I tried to do this in about 30 minutes, so we're at 40 minutes, so that's pretty good. And what was the other thing? Oh, I'll let you know if I get a layered shamrock that fits this shape. So I'll let you know if and when I get that done. And I think that's it. If you ever have any questions, just ask. And I'm happy to help. And if you can't ask during the live, you can add a comment later on. And I usually go back and answer them. I try to answer and respond to every comment. So, oh, y'all like the idea of the of a vulture piñata? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. These ideas are like the challenge is like bringing them to life. It's like so because I have to make template after template. I have to try it out. I have to make sure it cuts. Sometimes you'll do an angle and it's just like too sharp or something, or there's an extra point and your machine messes it up. So yeah. Okay. Oh, Amy did the dishes while yeah, that's fun. I mean, I'm glad you had something to look at anyway. Oh, crepe paper. I think this is some kind of Italian crepe paper I got on Amazon. Wait, I dropped it on the floor. It's so beautiful. But you can use other crepe paper. You can use the kind of crepe paper that comes in little rolls. It's much thinner. That just doesn't have the same substance. This isn't real heavy crepe paper, but it's pretty thick and just has nice body. And like I was showing you or trying to show you, let me cut off a strip. In terms of making flowers or leaves or something, it's very stretchy. So I cut it out. And so if you wanted a leaf or a a petal to curve, it just, it's just so nice. So, but I think it's some kind of specialty Italian crepe paper. Okay. Alrighty, y'all. Well, I'm gonna go. I usually go eat with Ben afterwards, and I will see you next week. Monday we are doing the leprechaun house. I'm going to show you how to use it on the base. Use a pasta box as a base, and then just kind of personalize. And then we'll probably make like a little pot of gold too, just so you can see that. So. Okay, and then I actually am going to send out an email on Wednesday to the people who bought my wreath workshop. We're going to do the third house in the series, which is the barn, and I've got a shamrock version. We're going to make a green barn. I don't know how it's going to look, but anyway, we're going to make a green barn. Okay, that's for the people who bought, that only goes out to the people who bought the Alpine Wreath Workshop. Okay, alrighty, y'all. You have a good day, and I'll see you next week for sure. Oh, and maybe Thursday at Craft Fest. Okay, alrighty, bye.